you go forward, you'll find insanity. If you climb these stairs, you're heading for madness. And soon, you'll share the terrifying secret behind this door in the room of steel. Don't go in the house. But if you do, don't say we didn't warn you. Don't go in the house.
Well, now you know. And that'll be one of the films next weekend on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. And Gigi Graham will be on next weekend as well. And she chose, Sam, I'm blanking on the name of that movie.
It was a TV movie from 1973.
Yes. It's cold. It's icy cold. Because, see, we're doing like a hot theme and a cold theme next week.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember. This is like my fourth drink. So
let's hope Gigi pops up and tells us.
Otherwise, Gigi, are you there? I hope she's here. But anyway, next weekend's show is going to be fabulous. It doesn't matter what the movies are. Gigi's going to be on.
Yeah.
So, and in the meantime, we have a lot to talk about for Dolls.
Yeah. Some of the worst parenting ever. Just really bad parents. A mom that never...
A Cold Night's Death.
Oh, yes. Thank you. You got it.
The second movie next weekend will be A Cold Night's Death from 1973, a TV movie. So continue, Sam. The bad parents.
I mean, the mom never takes the towel off her head, first off. And not to be judgy, right?
Did she have hair?
I don't know if she had hair or not.
Yeah, she had short hair.
I don't think I ever saw her with her hair uncovered.
The only time they really show it is when they show her corpse.
Oh, yeah.
Half her head's missing.
That was interesting. I loved how her corpse kept getting bloodier and bloodier from those empty eye socket wounds. It reminded me of poor Polly Palance in The Comeback.
Oh, poor Polly.
Every time you see her, her corpse is more rotten, and then suddenly there's maggots all over her face.
Matt brought up, he almost had a panic attack watching his intro. Bill does all the intros. I don't have anything to do with that, if you're wondering. Bill puts together the amazing videos on here. So, but he said that intro almost gave him a panic attack, Bill.
A panic attack. Wow.
He loved it. I think I really dig this movie. It's Mike Justice brought up. It's a lot like it's in the same world as Waxwork, which I really like both Waxwork movies an awful lot.
Oh, huge fan.
Yeah, and it's a fun movie. I think this is there's a lot of gore and stuff in it, but this feels like a good. Maybe you'd have to explain some stuff to them, but like if you have like a younger teen that wants to start getting into horror, like this feels like a pretty decent one to start with. What do you think, Dustin?
That's exactly my first thought is, and I mean this in the best way, is the film to me feels like it has a little bit of an identity crisis because parts of it do feel a little too goofy, and I don't want to say juvenile in a bad way. To really, I think I could see a lot of adults not being too into it, but at the same time, it also feels like it's a little too extreme and violent for younger kids. But then again, of course, I was probably a younger kid when I first watched it, early teens maybe. And it's like I said, it almost feels like somewhere right in the middle there of, a good introduction for kids who are trying to get into, I don't want to say extreme, but a little bit more graphic horror. It's got, like you said, a little bit of campiness to it and fun to it, but also at the same time, there's some pretty brutal violence. There's some definite gore.
It's the like second step between this and Martyrs.
What was that?
Before you show them Martyrs, you show them this, right?
Yeah. Before you break out Cannibal Holocaust, we start with this.
And Daryl brought up, From Beyond. This is the same house from Beyond.
She is the nurse, yes.
Yeah, and it's the same setting. He shot From Beyond. Stuart Gordon shot From Beyond after this because this movie took over a year in post-production to do a lot of the doll motions. My favorite part is when one of the Madonna girls keeps getting dragged into that wall and her face keeps getting messed up. And there's that great point of view shot of the wall coming at you a couple times. I really like that whole sequence.
One of the Madonna girls.
I can't remember their names, Bill.
There was only one Madonna girl. The other one was a Sheena Easton girl.
Yeah. You're correct.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I love them both.
They were punks.
They were.
I love how punks in movies like this, we're like, oh, they're going to put a cassette on pretty soon. What's their punk version? What's their version of punk music going to sound like? And we got a listen of it here. It was pretty cutting edge.
Real quick too, going back to Daryl's comment about his wife being the nurse in From Beyond. That's something I kind of thought about when we were watching it too. Is that was Stuart Gordon's wife. Did we lose Bill?
Yeah, we lost Bill.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll continue on so there's not dead air. I wonder if maybe that's like
I'm still here.
There he is. I kind of wonder if that was like
cutter.
maybe the secret to a good marriage for them is to brutally murder off your partner in your movies. Get your aggression out that way.
Yeah, and actually, she did a lot of the voices of the dolls too. That was
I did not know that.
A bunch of his friends and family members all doing the doll voices and the chanting and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah,
get your friends.
And the house is it was Dino De Laurentiis' house. But a lot of the outside of it, so we were talking about that at the end. A lot of the outsides are pieces from his movies that he kept. Some of it's the Barbarella set. The really creepy thing to me, Nora brings up how creepy the dolls are. The creepy thing to me is that the dolls have a skeletal and muscle system inside them when they get cracked. Originally, they were just supposed to be hollow, and Stuart Gordon was like, "Isn't it creepier if they have meat inside them when they get cracked open?"
Oh, very much so. I think so. Yeah,
it's pretty.
Then also too, it definitely emphasizes that point of these were people at one point.
Yeah,
they're like those dolls at the end of Asylum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That doll at the end of Asylum is so upsetting. I think that's another thing I think about quite often, of like the stuff inside it.
Yeah.
Horrible, absolutely horrible.
I do think the house adds to it, though. It's got a nice, haunted house vibe to it. Maybe a little bit of a Italian Gothic horror vibe.
It has the color of, and we were talking about during it. It feels like a film mirage movie. It has the colors of an Italian movie.
Yeah,
and that's you guys know how I feel about that.
It just so happens I'm smoking a Punch cigar.
Oh.
That wasn't on purpose.
Bunty Bailey's also in another movie that seems really similar to this, Spellcaster, which was made in the same year, and that has Adam Ant in it.
Yeah,
another
ever.
Yeah,
he was jealous of Alice Cooper being in Monster Dog, so he's like, "I'm going to be in this."
But that also has Richard Blade.
Spellcaster, bitch.
Yeah, it's not great, but it feels very similar to this. It's people come to a castle, people get killed in the castle, some people survive, But we were talking as we finished too, like Dustin and I were saying, like, this is the good side of Empire Full Moon. Things kind of go. Obviously, Stuart Gordon's probably one of the better directors that worked with band, but this is kind of like things. You can see a lot of his later movies, a lot of Puppet Master and all the many doll movies kind of come from this.
Well, going back to that too, what was you wound up using Guy Rolfe again for Toulon and Puppet Master 3, which he might be the best, I think, Toulon, but that's where those movies just start spiraling.
Yeah. I actually don't mind 3, but after a while, once movies start to have more than one timeline where you're like, oh, am I following the Axis timeline or the new time? And it's like, I don't care enough.
Is it Earth 2?
3 feels very comic booky.
Yes. And I love Monster Dog, and if anybody wants to watch it on the show, I'm 100% into showing Monster Dog. I love that movie. But it's Claudia Prodromou,
This is an excellent point, David. One of the more unrealistic deaths in the film, if there is such a thing, it would be that woman who jumped over the dolls and went right out the window. Like, God, wasn't she thinking that far ahead?
If a little doll comes running at you, so if that doll in the Hatchet Murders, aka Deep Red, came running at me, I would run so hard.
I don't know why people keep calling it Deep Red.
It's the Hatchet Murders. Bill, that's Bill and I's 2022 goal. If by the end of the year when people say Deep Red, you instinctively answer, don't you mean the Hatchet Murders? We'll have done our jobs.
It's changing history a little bit at a time.
Right?
Yeah, this movie also had a really, I don't know, it seemed like it was a little bit ahead of its time in the way that it was, the feel. It seems like it's more like late 80s or early 90s.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that teddy bear attack in the beginning too.
Mm-hmm.
It starts as a giant teddy bear, and you like come into, and then it suddenly gets really frightening. That's a really cool scene too. Like it's I always say in my reviews, it's way better than it should be. Like it's when you hear the concept, you're like, yeah, and then you watch, you're like, yeah, I kind of really dug that.
I feel like they completely reused that idea in Demonic Toys because it's pretty much the exact same bear.
Yeah. To be fair, that's another full moon movie I like. I like what's the other character? Not the other character that what's his name plays, the same guy that's in Transfers. They did the Demonic Toys versus
Dollman.
Dollman, yeah. I actually like that movie because it also brings in Bad Channels, which I have a super weakness for Bad Channels because Lewis the cults in it. So, and it's a very weird movie. But I think those are kind of like when you can tell they're at least trying different stuff.
Yes,
and some imagination.
I definitely agree. I think they were very fun movies. And another thing that I really liked about Full Moon at that time was they were doing the comic books, they were doing the trading cards, they were doing the video zones, which were included on every VHS copy. And it really did feel like they were trying to create a fan experience for the audience.
Yeah.
And then at some point, like I said, probably when they lost the Paramount money, it just, I don't know what happened. It just felt like recycling the same trash over and over.
And I liked that they were doing like the anthology films too, like Dungeon Master and stuff. I really like that movie. And then it felt like now they literally put out anthologies that are just digest versions of their movies, and they turn a 90-minute movie into like 26 minutes, and they just jettison whole parts of it. And it's like now it's like it's art versus content, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, we need this content for streaming providers because Tubi is full of Full Moon stuff. But yeah,
and that bothers me too because it really, to some degree, feels like they're ripping off. I don't want to say maybe uninformed fans who may not realize that you're just rebuying the same crap.
Or me, who tried to watch 60 Full Moon movies last summer, and I'm like, I've seen this movie before, and then I was like, oh yeah.
And it sounds.
I feel
like
that way with a lot of their stuff. I feel that way with a lot of their stuff. Like I know I must have watched it all in the early 90s when I was renting stuff, but I don't remember any of it. Lurking Fear one of theirs too?
That was around 94, 95. Yeah.
I remember that one. That one was pretty good. There's
a couple that are like, I think up till like mid 94, I'd say is pretty good.
Yeah. There's maybe one or two later on afterwards that I'm not gonna sit here and say they're great, but at least I felt they were watchable. Was that I'll admit I quite enjoyed was it The Dead Hate the Living? I thought there was some clever ideas in there.
The end of it's really cool.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can tell it's definitely a fan film. Like these people, I mean, they're throwing out like Dick Miller references, Fulci references. So it didn't feel insulting to like, oh, look, we're going to mention like the most common stuff because, you know. So I thought that one was interesting. But then there's stuff like Doll Graveyard and Dangerous Worry Dolls, which you mentioned last week.
There's exactly the one I was thinking of.
Woof.
Yeah.
Some of it's.
I'm not sure the answer to that, Paul, because Tubi started another movie as soon as they're like,
Tubi cuts a lot of that shit off. It drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they know that everybody has a post-credit scene now?
Didn't they learn nothing from the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Bill, I found that info on David Allen and Dustin. Do you want me to share David Allen?
Yes, please.
Oh, I think the audience would want to hear this because it sounded pretty crazy.
Yeah, David Allen, who did a lot of the stop motion for these movies, started with Equinox, Laser Blast, The Howling, Flesh Gordon, tons of stuff, right? So he used to be married to a woman named Danita Woodruff, and she learned that Alan had an ex-girlfriend named Valerie Taylor who constantly called their house, and the women got into a fight. Woodruff actually hired a private detective and found out that the ex-girlfriend had a criminal past and actually dug up enough evidence to get the police to convict her for a 1979 South Carolina murder that she got away with. She served 2 years in jail. Alan and Woodruff would eventually get divorced. And then Woodruff wrote a book called Deadly Masquerade that is available on Amazon. And it's pretty crazy. The other thing that Denitra Woodruff found out about Valerie Taylor was that Valerie was a man, and that David had been dated and almost married a man. He may or may not have realized that he was marrying a man too. And this woman actually was trying to come after her kids too. So it's a pretty wild, like literally unsolved mysteries kind of story about them. And then obviously David died in '99 from cancer, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, it almost took him out of a lot of movies too, because he was so stuck between the divorce and a lot of police proceedings and stuff. So
that's interesting. I mean, was she trans? I mean, so David Allen didn't know she was trans, or was she like somebody living in a disguise?
That's a crazy.
You know,
I haven't bought the book, and part of me is like, I really think I need to read this book and do a book report on the shows, right? It really feels like
yeah.
I mean, Bill and I
wouldn't
know somebody that went through a similar situation.
I mean, you could be married to somebody and maybe you don't know that they're trans because you met them later in life. But
Yeah.
You know, that it's interesting. How could you be married to somebody and not know? It's like M. Butterfly.
Yeah.
David Cronenberg.
It really is, yeah.
Okay, so what else about dolls?
I love the way that the dolls themselves look. And I like one of the things I thought about is the two punk rock girls have makeup that's very similar to the dolls. So I think that's really neat when later they become them. It's not a lot of work to change their faces to the dolls. But I really think that there's something interesting to that.
They looked flawless every step of the way, even though these two women were supposed to have been hitchhiking and drenched in rain on the side of the road. They show up at the mansion, not a smudge in their makeup. They look like they were just walking off the set of a music video.
I like that they're like talking about three-ways and that kid's sitting there holding a puppet.
But that's another thing I find, kind of funny about the movie too, is that like you could tell that the older couple are trying to protect the child, but they're letting people get murdered left and right in front of her.
Yeah, I agree with Gigi. This has like a fairy tale kind of vibe, but it's like I actually would kind of like to see more of that. And it would almost seem weirder if it like, do you know what I mean? If it didn't get into the total horror kind of feel too.
Yeah, it's kind of like, again, in the new issue of Drive-In Asylum, you'll read a great interview with Pat Carty, I promise. Another thing that he was talking about, though, was how when Horror High was finished and edited and put together, like they couldn't find anybody that wanted it to put it out, and then Crown said that they wanted it. But what they said was, he had to tell them that it was rated X. And he was like, well, and Crown was just like, oh, Mark Tenser from Crown said, I'll just cut everything out of it. I'll cut all the offensive stuff out of it. And Pat was like, well, you can't. It's like, we filmed it. It's in there. And he was like, this is the head of the MPAA said, this is a kid's movie that kids can't see. It's because this violence is in there, like kids can't see it, and that's the target audience for this movie. And he was like, yeah, they were right. So they cut the stuff out, and more people got to see. But this seemed like that too, like it was a little bit too much for little kids, and yet that seemed to be who they were aiming this for.
I mean, no movie's going to get it as right as Lamora does, right, Bill?
Oh, a children's fairy tale.
Yeah. A children's fairy tale about, hey, your dad's a gangster and he's bitten by
And everybody wants to lech on you, even though you're like 12 years old or however old she was supposed to be. And there's a lesbian vampire who's after you. Yeah, just like real life.
It is one aberrant, weird child's journey into the supernatural.
I love it.
This movie had a child that had, I guess, it's something also hinted in the later Puppet Masters, is sometimes the dolls are protective if somebody is like morally pure. You know what I mean? That like the kids are kind of innocent, so they can be protected from the horrible people around them.
Going off of Nora's commentary, I would say that this is sort of a morality tale. If the moral that they're trying to teach is don't completely lose your sense of childhood wonder or don't lose your childhood innocence. My only argument to that is I use my own kids and those little turds aren't completely innocent.
Never.
No.
At least nobody was picking up kids in playgrounds in this movie.
No, they're just letting their daughter leave with a relative stranger.
This is a tough night to be a kid.
Yeah, right.
That's another theme in it.
A theme, bad night for kids. On this. I also said that this night was like why do you need Zilla when you can have both these movies and get some houses out of them? Either a Mansion of the Doomed or a house full of dolls.
I'd probably take either.
I think I'd like to live in this house from the second movie more. Because I don't want to clean the poop out of the cages from the people in there.
Well,
it's still in there.
That's true. I mean, the poop factor is, but I still like the Mansion of the Doomed better.
What do you think, Dustin? What house would you prefer?
I'm probably going to go with dolls just because I like the older look of it. There was a lot of wood going on in that house, which I'm a big fan of. Wood paneling, wood walls, wood floors. Also, too, I mean, if someone does poop in the basement, I would assume you can get the dolls to clean it up.
Well, you're going to have to build your own cage down there, though. And Mansion of the Doomed, it comes equipped. Electrified cage, by the way.
Yeah.
So, it's even more than just a cage. I just want you to be prepared for this, Dustin. I mean, you're going to have to make some modifications.
I've not thought this out, no.
It could be one of those things where you...
Go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
You get the people that are selling it to pay for it. They're like, well, I'll buy your house, but you got to do this first.
Would either of these houses pass inspection, Bill?
Oh,
Depends on who you get to do the inspection.
Sure. I think so. I mean, this house, when I bought it, I didn't know it had a secret room, so I'm sure I could deal with some secret dolls.
Whoa, secret room.
Oh, yeah. Right over there.
Oh.
This is really... I think you promised to do the broadcast from the secret room one night, Dustin. If I'm not mistaken.
Actually, now would be the time of year to do it because it gets insanely hot in there.
Yeah. So you'll be all nice and toasty warm. Next time you're on, I want to see you from the secret room.
We can do this.
GGS, do we know for sure the dolls don't like porcelain poop? Like they're not like candy. And they do have whole muscular systems. One would assume... Do they eat that soup? That weird green soup that I suddenly got hungry for because I love soup?
Maybe.
And then there would be Pez poop that would come out.
Mm-hmm.
What would it taste like? Would it taste like Pez?
It would taste like magic.
I'm really
You're not supposed to eat it. I'm not even eating stuff that's fake poop. If it's poop, I don't want it. Like those jelly beans that are flavored like boogers.
I was going to just bring this up, yeah. I watched the first Harry Potter the other night against my will, and those were in it, and I'm like...
Is there a poop jelly bean, too?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's barf ones, so...
Have you ever seen the show Nathan For You, Bill?
No.
It's a guy who goes to different businesses, and he tries to fix their businesses. And one of the ways he tried to fix a frozen yogurt store was by giving free poop frozen yogurt away to people. I don't know how this would fix their business. It's like the worst ideas. And So he went and he did a focus group for his frozen poop to see if it tasted right. And one of the guys is like, well, this tastes like shit. And he's like, thank you, sir. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. The guy tried to choke him. He's like, why would you serve us this? And he goes, well, I'm paying you to eat poop. It's an amazing show. You should really check it out. It gets weirder. There's also a real estate agent who can detect ghosts, and she only sells properties that aren't possessed. And they make her all these billboards that color like the ghost real estate person. It's real wild.
I was really inspired by the fact that it's Telly Savalas's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So I went and I got out my Telly Savalas vinyl collection to show.
Oh, nice.
My God.
Yes, I do have Telly Savalas on vinyl. This album, now see, I have to refamiliarize with myself with what's on here. Okay, this one is really not all that good, but he does do a cover of Yesterday When I Was Young on this. You haven't lived until you've heard Telly Savalas do Yesterday When I Was Young. And, I know I have a big gay crush on Telly Savalas, but Telly was a straight guy, and here he is doing what he did best, which was pick up groovy chicks. And, Telly could pull it off no matter what.
Yeah.
This is, I believe, one of the earlier Telly Savalas records. I think this was a big hit.
Yes.
Because this has his reading of If by Bread on it. And I think if he had any kind of a hit, I think If was one of them. And also, he does You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling. You and Me Against the World. Without Her by Harry Nilsson. It's stellar. And I'm sure you can listen to all of these on YouTube. Now, my favorite Telly Savalas album is Who Loves You, Baby? And here it is. This was kind of like, there were some disco influences on this one. Maybe not even disco, like more like funk. Telly was getting funky on this one. And the title track, Who Loves You, Baby, is my favorite. But also, there's a really creepy song on here called The Men in My Little Girl's Life. I know somebody else did it first because nobody wrote any songs specifically for Telly Savalas to interpret. Unfortunately, this also has Gentle on My Mind, a cover of Gentle on My Mind. So if you're gonna spring for Telly Savalas records, I recommend Who Loves You, Baby.
Did he ever cover MacArthur Park? Because that feels like in his wheelhouse.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
I don't think his music career lasted long enough for him to go full tilt disco. But, what couldn't he do? What couldn't Telly Savalas do?
I have a big weakness for when TV stars got to put out their albums. You know what I mean? It was like...
Any faves?
John Travolta, obviously. Big fave. And the Dukes of Hazzard Christmas album, a big played all year in my house. And the Bob and Doug McKenzie album too.
Yep.
Pretty wonderful.
Real quick, happy birthday to Tracy in the chat. I just saw that pop up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Tracy.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah, she mentioned.
Sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
That's okay. She mentioned it was her birthday last week.
Maybe she could win a DVD.
Yeah, we still have these 2 DVDs to give away, so why don't we draw some more names?
Okay.
Well, first of all, is there anyone in the chat that isn't in the drawing that wants to be?
Oh, yeah. Please let me know. By the way, isn't Telly Savalas, what's her name, Jennifer Aniston's godfather?
He's everybody's godfather.
Yeah.
Grandfather. And uncle.
And
what
dad.
Couldn't Telly Savalas be in your family?
Oh, my uncle loved Telly because my uncle was bald, and he said women started paying attention to me as a bald man once Telly Savalas became hot. By the way, John, you won in the last segment, and you weren't here. John said he's in, so I think we should just give John one of these 2 that's left.
That seems fair.
John,
Matthew.
Until somebody complains, it seems fair.
John, do you want Maniac Cop or do you want Midnight? Let me know. And then we'll have one more winner, unless you guys want me to go to the basement and grab one more scintillating pick.
Well, of course they're going to say they want to win another movie, right?
Well, let's give these ones away, and then I'm adding Tracy into it. Okay, John's getting Midnight, so that means the only one left. John, please send me your info. Everybody that won, send me your info via instant mess or DM on Facebook, and I'll get these out on Monday. So finally, Maniac Cop.
Unless somebody wants a copy of like Creep Van or one of the Krampus knockoff movies, I can't help you.
All right,
Krampus knockoff movies?
Yeah, Dollar Tree find.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's the next one. Daryl Rambato.
He should still be here.
He's still here? Daryl Rambato.
Oh, Matthew, I thought you meant me.
No.
He meant Mike Justice. Well, I agree with you. Mike Justice is stunningly handsome.
Mike Justice is one of my favorite social media people because Mike gets a new filter and goes crazy. It really makes my whole day. By the way, if anyone goes to Dollar Tree and finds Breakin', not Breakin' 2, but Breakin' or One Cut of the Dead, or there's a few other canon movies that have been showing up in Dollar Trees, please let me know because mine don't get it. Okay, Daryl, you're going to win Maniac Cop 2. Congrats. And Bill, you want me to go to the basement and get one more?
I think you should go look in the basement. Yes.
Don't look.
Don't go in the basement. Hold on, I'll be back.
So,
I'm reading the chats, right? I guess I need to go out to Dollar Tree.
I mean, I don't know. I never saw anything at a Dollar Tree that I wanted to buy. But other people have these great finds there.
Every once in a while, you'll find like some really interesting, and I use trash in a very positive term. But also, too, we bought a bunch there last October to give away at Halloween, and people just loved it. So I just been buying them left and right just to give them away again this year.
Good deal. I was just there not too long ago, and I thought, I'm going to check out the DVD Blu-ray section at Dollar Tree. And I don't know. I didn't recognize anything. I don't pay attention to anything unless it was made before like 1983.
I don't see anything older than maybe like 3-4 years. Like I said, we got one that's up the road from that where we're at now, which this is the first Dollar Tree in probably like 10 years because have friends who find stuff all the time. I've never ever found stuff until I went to this one. So most of the stores I went to didn't even carry movies.
Dollar Tree's great though. I get all my packing materials from Dollar Tree.
Same. They have by far like the cheapest tape and bubble mailers and stuff like that.
We've got one movie
Sam,
left.
Yes. What is this movie you're going to give away?
Mighty Peking Man. The Shaw Brothers movie. And it is one of the Quentin Tarantino releases.
Goliathon?
Yeah.
Isn't that the movie that was known as Goliathon in the United States?
Yes.
Good deal.
A car, this is a Miramax one. Don't cancel it. All right, here we go. Last one. Jeff Jordan mentions Fisher's Big Wheel, as we all know that I have a beta of, what do you call it, House at the Edge of the Park from a Fisher's Big Wheel. Why? I got it for $25. Oh, Matthew said put his name in at the last minute. If he wins, this is super fixed, and I'm the one pulling it.
Mark Tenser from Crown said.
That's what happened to. Oh, I hear my voice coming from somewhere.
Pat was like, "But you can't. It's like, you know."
Do you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear my voice coming from somewhere.
That's me. Sorry.
Okay.
You can sing it around.
You guys hear that?
It is Dustin.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to reply in the comments there.
All right, here we go. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
Sean Midas. Is Sean still around?
I haven't seen him in a little while, but that doesn't mean he's not here.
I don't think he came back unless he's lurking.
We'll give him a minute and keep talking. If not, we'll pull another one.
Sean won something last week too, but I don't think he was around to claim it.
Real people win on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. I almost brought up. I had some really bad ones on there. I had like Titanic and a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, nobody wants to win this.
I'm going to put it out there now. If people are into some, memorabilia or vintage movie stuff like that, I have a couple pieces I wouldn't mind giving away next time I'm on.
Awesome.
Yep.
Oh, far out.
Mainly because I don't know if I have room for it all.
Yeah, that's what inspired me. I was like, I got to get rid of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I have a box. While we're waiting for Sean, do you guys want to see what came in the mail today?
Yes, I think you should go over your weekly mail badge.
Only 3 things this week. Call Girl Cthulhu. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's on Tubi. Same guys that did WNUF Halloween special. It's actually really good. Really good. I really enjoyed it. It's really dark too.
Really?
Pretty fun.
I thought it'd be a comedy. I don't know why.
It is. It's a little mixed, but the end of it's really dark.
Okay.
This is another one they made, Witch's Brew, which is about microbreweries that screw over a town witch.
Ah,
I haven't seen that one yet, and of course, the WNUF Halloween special. This is the greatest packaging ever. Because it is a old head cleaner box, and it even has handwriting on every side. Then it has a ton of extras. If you guys haven't seen this special, it's great. It really feels like 80s UHF TV, and they just finished a sequel to it. So the producer is on Twitter, and he's doing any of their movies. I think 4 for $60 and 3 for $50. So I got the 3 packs. I already had What Happens Next Will Scare You, which is one of their new ones. You can also get this from Vinegar Syndrome, and the really neat thing is it's a very 3D package where different pieces of it are embossed, and it actually has a sticker on back.
Oh, nice. For anyone who hasn't seen it, the recreated commercials in that are freaking brilliant.
Yeah, there's even more commercials on the Blu-ray too. That's what I'm excited about. Yeah, have you seen it, Bill?
yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
It's one of Bradley Steele Harding's favorites.
Yeah. Tim, no one has. Tim, do you want to get entered? I don't think you're entered, Tim. We can pull one more. I'm going to enter Tim, and then let's pull one more because I don't think Sean's here.
And Nora, we're not going to give away any alcohol on the show. Sorry. I don't want the legal implications.
Can we still have her on? Because I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, Nora, you can come on the show. But
yeah, you should.
We're not going to give away any booze.
All right, Tim's been entered. Now I'm going to pull the final one. No wagering. Mark Dockham. Mark, are you still here?
Mark. I think he is.
He's still here.
Mark?
Unless his edible took him off the La La Land.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know where I am.
I don't know anyone that's ever happened to.
I don't know anyone that's taken edibles and ended up in a honey bear. I mention it every week, eating pepper. But yeah, it happened. Real people do get high. Teenagers disappear every year, is where Strep said.
Tonight in Los Angeles, thousands of teenagers will drive up and down Hollywood Boulevard, endlessly searching for sex.
Mark, you still here? I've not seen him.
Oh, man. Let's give...
I think Mark might have ditched.
Oh, okay.
Here's what we'll do. Send it to me, and I'll hold it ransom, and I'll be like, Mark, if you want it, let me move into that bathroom that you have with the newspaper wall.
Yeah. All right. Going once. Going twice. All right, picking someone else. Sorry, everybody. Okay, here's the next one. Paul Woparian, is that how you say it?
Beauparlant?
Oh, perhaps, yeah. If you have a long
I don't know. How do you spell it?
Beauparlian, yeah. How do you say that?
I think that's Paul Beauparlant.
Oh, Paul Beauparlant. Paul, are you still out there? I'm sorry that I mispronounced your name. I've drank a lot of whiskey.
Blame it on the whiskey.
Blame it on the rain. Blame it on the whiskey.
Soon we'll be blaming it on Rio.
Man, that movie is problematic.
Blame it on the boogie.
So is Bolero. So is Bo Derek's entire life.
Yeah.
I like that he's like, John Derek's like, let's move to Europe to make movies, but really, because it's statutory rape for me to be with you in the U.S. And Vince Cornelius is singing the song from Night Train to Terror. He knows my heart. My dream this year, I want to put this out into the universe. I want a Vinegar Syndrome box set of Night Train to Terror, all the associated movies, and Savage Journey, which was made by the same guys, all in one set. And I would like to do commentary on one of them. That's my dream. Maybe, just maybe. Also, maybe news about that kind of stuff in a bit, but we still can't say anything. All right, we're going to pick one more. Right?
Somebody be here.
Scott Porter, are you here?
He's here.
Oh, yeah.
Scott Porter,
Scott.
Mighty Peking Man. A movie that has a King Kong analog flip off the camera. And it's in a...
He's going to chime in and say, I don't want it.
Yeah. Matt, we haven't shown a Robert Quarry film because we like Vincent Price. I'm just kidding. Vincent Price and Robert Quarry. Robert Quarry probably liked Vincent Price. Vincent Price was real clingy to him.
What was the?
I was saying earlier that Mansion of the Doomed, Richard Batehart's character looks like Vincent Price should have played him.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Scott, you got. Oh, Ape. See, Gigi's smarter than me. I don't know why I thought that it was Mighty Peking Man. Anyways.
What was the thing that Price said about Quarry the one time? Something like, I think Quarry was like dancing and singing around a set. And so like, oh, I bet you didn't know I bet you didn't know I could sing. And Price was like, no, but I knew you couldn't act.
All right. Congratulations to all our winners. Please reach out to me. I'll get your DVDs or some Blu-rays to you. And I have more coming up too.
I see Sugar Hill listed as a recommendation. I wholeheartedly support that.
Oh, absolutely.
That has got
Sugar
some of the
Hill
best lines.
It really does. Sugar Hill was a late in life surprise for me because I never saw it. I always knew what it was, but they never showed it on TV. So I saw it finally at the drive-in. That was the very first time I ever saw Sugar Hill, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. And Marky Bay is just beautiful.
Instant crush.
Oh, yeah.
I still have names in here. I should just pull them and write a soliloquy about each person. What did I pull out?
Our first loser of the night.
Oh, Daryl, that was the first April Gould's drive-in. The year that they did Sugar Hill. And they also did Blood and Lace, which was the first time I ever saw that movie. There were a lot of firsts for me that weekend. And it was so cold. I remember how cold it was. And I was just sitting in my car wrapped in a sleeping bag. And I was like, this is fucking amazing. This is exactly what people did in the off season. You know, I always run ads for shows that were in November, December, January. And, you know, it gets cold here in Pittsburgh at that time of the year, but people were still going out and going to the drive-in, which is pretty amazing. So that's what that felt like to me. An authentic experience. Matt Bustle?
Write a limerick about him. That's what Gigi asked. I don't even know how to write a limerick. Soliloquy. I write a stanza. Anyways, yeah, it's going to be cold at the April drive-in this year again, Bill. I know it now. In my heart, I know it's going to rain. I know it's going to be cold. I know I'm probably going to end up in a honey bear, afraid to drive. But it's okay. And
excuse my ignorance on this. Is a honey bear a porta potty?
No, honey. That's a honey bucket. A Melvin song. I never knew that's what that meant. I only knew the Melvin song. Then I went to Seattle. I'm like, oh, they're honey buckets. Honey Bear is a gas station chain. There's not many, but the outside has a giant bear like eating honey like crazy. And there's like 3 of them around the drive-in. Those are the only places that are open all night. And
that's great.
I'm like, I can totally make it home before these drugs really kick in. And at some point between the drive-in and this Honey Bear, these drugs kicked in. Like
Florida, we must just be a bunch of lushes because nothing closes.
Yeah.
Well, Pennsylvania is weird like that.
Yeah.
Like you can't buy liquor in the stores.
Yeah.
Here.
You telling me that. That just seems so wrong.
Yeah. But the Honey Bear was open and I was like, what will get me out of here? You know? So a couple people mentioned showing Curtis Harrington movies. I'm for showing any of them, to tell you the truth. I just did a week of them. But I'm super into showing any ones that we'd like to show. I have a lot of really dumb movies that I'd like to show, and usually they're really bad, and Bill's like, nobody wants to watch.
Can I hear a couple?
I have a list somewhere.
That's half the reason I'm afraid to suggest movies sometimes, because it's like I hope I'm not the only person that likes this movie.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a really dumb one that I could put in.
We have to show Crash sometime because I'm not really sure if I ever saw that movie. That might be a first time watch for me.
Oh,
so
cool.
Here's my ones. Some of these are good, some of them aren't. This isn't going to break anybody's mind or anything, but it's what, 140. Neon Maniacs, I'd really like to watch. I really like Neon Maniacs a lot. It could be better. Party Line, I wonder why I like that movie. Horror House on Highway 5, a horrible movie that I enjoy. Prom Night 2, which I opine is great.
I think it's by far the best of the series.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also like that it's one of the few slasher movies that has a villainess who is like, yeah, people should have sex. She's very sex positive while she's killing you. I'm all for that. Django the Bastard, which is one of the few Italian westerns that is also horror themed, and it's really sinister. Blood Beast Terror.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, that feels like a good movie for you to.
Blood Beast Terror. Oh my God, Cushing is just genius in that film. I love that part where he's like rushing around the house and he runs into the basement and he just goes like into his handkerchief.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies that seems like every home release has given away the ending of that movie.
Yeah.
Where Batgirl swoops in.
Assignment Terror is another one I really dig. Mirror Mirror, which feels like maybe that'd be a good double. Mirror Mirror and Party Line feels like a double feature that Gigi would enjoy. And Encounter with the Unknown, because I like movies that say, I know that Rod Serling's a great voiceover guy, but what if we had 2 narrators? And what if this movie seemed to go on forever? And what if there's one part that was really fucking scary and the other stories aren't as scary? So that's where I'm at.
That's one of those. I think the Blu-ray was a split with Sasquatch, so I had to jump on it.
Yes. Also, I would like to watch Cry Wilderness, and because I super love Cry Wilderness. It's a fucking horrifying. Also, Cry Wilderness, made by the same people that made Night Train to Terror. It's from the same weird Salt Lake City maniacs. They're like, what if we made a movie where a kid didn't get along with his dad, and Bigfoot was his best friend, and it's real creepy, and Sam will love it. Yep. And next week, believe it or not, I have not seen either movie that's on next week. Super jazzed. How did I miss them? Yeah, I will be a little late because I'm going to see Bruce Dickinson do a spoken word thing, so that's kind of cool. And then I'll be there.
Oh, Bloodsuckers.
Bloodsuckers is a good one for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Targets is Daryl brought up Targets too. I do love Targets.
Dustin was talking about doing Straight Jacket.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fun one.
It's been too long since. We didn't do a Joan movie yet, did we?
How have we not done Trog? How?
That's the one that I was thinking that we had done, but I guess we didn't. So we'll do a Joan movie. Wow, there's a Joan bumper.
Yeah.
I made a bumper from Straight Jacket, but we never actually watched it. So hey, let's do Straight Jacket sometime.
Yeah.
Now the question would be, what would we match with that?
Oh, we'll find something. We'll find some obscure connection and make a double feature out of it.
Hatchet for the Honeymoon.
There you go.
Oh yeah, see?
Yeah.
That's a dream one too. I love Hatchet for the Honeymoon. I really, really, really love that movie.
That's one of those that I just love the look of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Also a mannequin movie, so I know that Bill enjoys it.
Absolutely.
Correction, John, is not a women's picture, therefore we'll not. I'm just kidding. We'll definitely show it. I yell that all the time around the house, and my wife says, "Please leave me alone."
What I'm dying to do on the show is the Honeymoon Killers.
Mm-hmm.
Have both of you guys seen the Honeymoon Killers?
I have not.
Yes.
At least I don't think I have.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's like it's the closest visual connecting film I can think of to Night of the Living Dead. It's not about zombies or anything, but the look of it is very like Night of the Living Dead, and the sound design and everything, and it's just such a compelling story. A true crime story about a man and a woman who would rob these women who wrote to Lonely Hearts columns, and the man would hook up with these rich women that had money, and then they would move in, and like there was this woman that was with him too, and he would say it was his sister, but really they were a couple, and they were just doing it to all these women, and then they would murder these people and take their money. And it's really good.
Yeah,
so one time we'll watch that.
I see Vince brings up Girls Night Out. I would watch that anytime.
Oh, totally.
Here's where I get into the movies nobody wants to watch. Manhattan Babies.
I'm out.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew Manhattan Baby was going to get mentioned.
I don't care. You know? It's so bad, but it's so good.
It's one of those movies that actually benefits with a second watch, because then you know what's going on.
Do you?
Sort of.
It's ridiculous.
I love it because you know what? I don't know. I'm a Fulci fanboy.
Yeah, no, understandable.
But also, it's like,
so
I'm just kind of like, you know. Also, yeah, Gigi understands. I'm a masochist, and like I shouldn't bring other people into my need to destroy myself with movies, and maybe I should just enjoy them on my own. But I noticed I didn't say like, "Hey, let's watch Oasis of the Zombies" or anything like that I like.
I like Oasis of the Zombies. But you have to like show a HD copy of it so that way you can actually see what the hell's going on.
Speaking of damaging myself, next month all Jess Franco movies on my site. I watched about 100 Jess Franco movies in the last 3 weeks. Let me tell you, there ain't no drugs. Like what? Because like the first couple, I think I said last week, like first couple, I'm like, yeah, I don't really get it. I'm like 100 in now, and I completely get it. I'm like, I completely understand. Like. It's like an acquired taste. Like, if you eat enough spinach, you're going to love spinach. You might not want to eat it again after a month of spinach, but we'll see where we get to.
Gigi and I talked about doing Screams of a Winter Night with I'm not going to remember the name again. A Cold Night's Death. And we just thought it would be too long because Screams of a Winter's Night is 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So we'd be up really late if we did that.
That's one of those movies that I absolutely hated the first time I watched it, and it's just kind of grown on me.
Screams?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was really the first time I was like, what the hell did I just watch? And then the more I've watched it, I'm still not going to sit here and say it's a good movie, but I enjoy it.
I'm going to do an upset Mike Justice double feature and show Things in Manhattan Baby. See how he does.
That's really asking for
never
it.
Speak to me again. Yeah, when he moves to Monongahela, he won't speak to me.
You get your own show if you want to watch Things, Sam Panico. Oh. I'm not doing that to these people.
We're gonna have. That's what I'm debating. I'm like, what if I just did like a fucking marathon of the shit that I watched? Like, how many people? I considered doing that on Twitch when I watched all the Fast and the Furious movies in 24 hours. Don't ever do that to yourself. It's real bad. Don't do it.
Well, this is just mock outrage because I actually kind of like Things too, and I would I've shown we've done worse movies than Things, haven't we? We did Damnation Alley.
Damnation Alley is the nadir.
Yeah.
The lowest of the low. The other one I'd like to show, Warriors of the Wasteland, I really like. We showed Endgame, and I like Endgame. 2019, After the Fall of New York. Any post-apocalyptic Italian movie, honestly. Intrepidos Punks, I'd really like to show.
What about The Aftermath?
I kind of dig The Aftermath, yeah.
The Aftermath is nuts.
Yeah. He actually did another movie, too. What's the other?
Oh, God, it's not coming to me right now.
The demon one, yeah. It's even weirder than The Aftermath.
What I like about The Aftermath is that the man's ego is so showing in that movie. You know, he's a badass. He gets, you know, the girl within 5 seconds, and yet he's more than partially balding, slightly paunchy dude, not attractive at all, can't act.
That's also Andy Kaufman's girlfriend.
Oh, really?
And what's his name's sister, Johnny Legend's sister, in that movie. Wicked World, 100%. You know what scared me is the director of Things in Wicked World liked and sent me a message about my Letterboxd review of it, and I'm like, I don't want to know him. Like, I'm like afraid of him. Like after watching it, kind of like The Abomination. I was like, oh, do I really want to? When I got to talk to Brett, I'm like, do I want to talk to him? Because The Abomination really freaks me out sometimes, and he's completely the opposite of who I thought he was. I'd be like, you know, he's actually really sweet, and he sent me a message every day. Yeah. I really appreciate you. Thanks for interviewing me. I'm like, you don't have to thank me.
Brett's a great guy. I'm so excited you're doing something with him. I wanted you to talk about that.
Can I talk? I think I can talk about it now, right?
Are you allowed to?
I'll ask him first. Maybe next week.
Okay, yeah.
There's something happening. Brett has 2 big things happening. I can say that with just hint at it, but the one's really cool, and I helped out with it. Super.
I love that comment, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, he picked Damnation Alley, and then he didn't show up.
Halfway through Damnation Alley, I was like, I fucking hate this movie.
Yeah,
like, I didn't remember hating it so much. How can I hate a movie with George Tappard in it? I mean,
and J. Michael Vincent.
Yeah, J. Michael Vincent. And because George Tappard's in one of my favorite movies ever, Battle Beyond the Stars.
Fantastic movie.
The greatest double feature of my life at the drive-in: Battle Beyond the Stars and Star Crash together. Come on.
Just throw in a message from, what is it? Is it Message from Space?
Message from Space, yeah.
Yeah.
The only better one is I saw Police Academy 1 and Super Fuzz. What a double feature. Fucking A-Cab covers both those movies, but I still love them. Super Fuzz, you gotta love it. But yeah, that was a great double feature. At the Spotlight 88, which is sadly gone. A tornado came through Elwood City. It never happens. And just took out the drive-in and nothing else. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right? And it went through James Way. Kept James Way was fine.
You got me actually looking over my shoulder to see what like the trashy air titles I have are.
Uncle Spooky's great. He made up for Damnation Alley. He was on the show a couple times after that. He was doing a live show that was on Shudder. He was hosting a show
the drag show, the Boulet Brothers or whatever.
Yeah.
And
now he's doing the stay-at-home movies again. He's doing his Zoom meetings again. So follow Uncle Spooky on Instagram, and he'll send you an invite. He does his show on a Zoom meeting. And everybody goes in and hangs out. Yeah, it is. I've done it a whole bunch of times. It's a lot of fun. I wish I could do it every week, but I'm always like, oh, damn, Uncle Spooky's on. It's been on for an hour and a half already.
Yeah. Usually when he starts, I'm getting ready to head out to work. So
my dream movie to show is, of course, Your Hunter from the Future, which everybody will hate. So we want to show that one. I'm trying to think what else. What other?
Watched it.
Oh, yes. It's great. I have the Italian miniseries, which is even better. It's all in Italian. I can't speak it. I'm learning. So, yeah. I'm excited. You know what, guys? This has been a blast. Thanks for indulging me with my
Oh,
Super Bowl
always.
movies.
Thank you guys for having me on here. I always, like I said, either side, whether it's on camera or in the chat, I look forward to each week. Just like enjoy talking movies, and there's always a fantastic crowd that, the comments are just as fun as the movies half the time. Some once or twice better than the movies.
More than one occasion.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's just it. And that's another thing I say to my wife, we talk about, because she, usually watches all of them with me, is I don't even care if I don't like the movie. Half the time I'm watching something that maybe I would have not given a shot to. And I enjoy seeing other people's comments, because, some stuff I'm going to like, they're not going to like, and vice versa. Or, plenty of times somebody says something I just never thought about. And so you wind up looking at a movie a different way. So yeah, I always thrilled to be here on either end. So
my last
likewise
dumb movie I'll throw out is Return of Captain Invincible, which I really like too. Christopher Lee's great in it, and it's a musical, and it's a mess. So I'm excited for next week. Dustin, thanks for coming on. This was a blast.
Anytime. Thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who watched.
I wish I'd been here for the
hanging out with
Brainiac when you watched it. I'm sad because I wish I'd watched that with you guys.
Oh yeah, you weren't on that show.
I was in Seattle at that time.
Oh, right.
That's right. That was us and me, Bill, and I think that was Uncle Spooky with us.
Uncle Spooky, yeah.
Yep.
And we watched the Killer Shrews.
Which I will probably go watch again here the next week. Oh, thank you.
You're going to watch it as soon as we disconnect, Dustin.
I promised to go watch this short film, so I got to go get that out the way.
I got a killer shrew in my house, and he bites me every day. All
right, come back next weekend on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. We'll hang out with Gigi Graham, and we'll watch 2 more fantastic flicks. See you then.
See you guys. Have a good weekend.
Under 16, not admitted without parents or guardians. Under 17, not